Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Filling the Gaps Diaspora Talent as a Driver for Development panel. I know everybody just had lunch, so we're trying to make it a little bit more lively. So, and we have interference from the outside. But it is my pleasure and a privilege to moderate this panel. My name is Flaka Ismaili. I am also a member of the diaspora, having recently returned from the United States after 14 years of living there. I currently manage the Citizen Diplomacy Fellowship, an initiative by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora of Kosovo that brings young professionals from the diaspora to Kosovo to work in institutions for a period of 10 months and do that exchange of skills and of talent with the local government. The Fill in the Gaps Diaspora Talent as a Driver of Development is, we all know that diaspora talent plays a transformative role in addressing critical gaps across different sectors such as healthcare, education, technology, and other sectors. And this panel will highlight just how innovative approaches to engage in diaspora communities, from skill sharing initiatives to strategic investments and digital solutions, have worked in various experiences that our guests will bring today. But before we move on to the panel part of the discussion part of the panel, we have a speaker who unfortunately could not be in person with us here today. However, it is my pleasure to introduce Angel Jones, who is the CEO of Homecoming X from South Africa. Ms. Jones is an accomplished leader and a change maker who has inspired and facilitated the return of African talent to the continent. Her career includes numerous accolades, such as a nomination for the 2023 Global Startup Awards and being recognized as one of the top 50 thriving female founders of 2019. After hearing Nelson Mandela speak in the late 90s, Ms. Jones founded Homecoming Revolution, which later evolved into a Homecoming X Executive Search, a firm championing Africa's virtual brain gain. With expertise in executive search and a BA in economics and English from UCT, Ms. Jones exemplifies how to mobilize diaspora talent for meaningful impact. So we're going to have virtual remarks from Ms. Jones, and then we'll be right back.
Hello to everyone at the Ulpiana Forum from Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm Angel Jones, CEO of Homecoming X, an executive search firm. But we started our life as Homecoming Revolution. The way that started was I was living in London for 7 years, and I heard Nelson Mandela come and speak on the steps of the South African Embassy in Trafalgar Square, London. And he stood on this balcony looking over the sea of freezing cold South Africans, and he said, "I love you all so much. I want to put you in my pocket and take you home." And most of us just burst into tears, and I realized, what on earth are we doing in London? It's time to return home. I did that and was able to set up Homecoming Revolution in its early days as a non-profit platform to encourage South Africans all around the world to return home, showcasing property, schools, relocation services, lots and lots of different jobs. And in the first decade of our activities, we had over 400,000 South Africans return home. Shortly thereafter, I turned Homecoming Revolution from a non-profit entity into an executive search firm. When the pandemic hit, obviously the world changed. We realized how easy it was to do business remotely. And so we started moving more and more of our activities into creating a virtual brain gain. Key to the success of Africa is the creation of jobs, which comes a lot from your growing enterprises, your startups, your fast-growing ventures. And many of these ventures across Africa are facing a talent scarcity, as are actually globally most companies are saying that the barrier to growth is talent scarcity. Enter the concept of fractional executives, a model that provides startups and SMMEs with access to top-tier talent at a fraction of the cost. It's cost-effective, flexible, and a game changer for startups with tight budgets. At Homecoming X, we've helped companies like Zappa, a South African e-wallet provider, find a fractional chief marketing officer who's transformed Zappa's marketing strategy and done incredible things with their consumer segmentation. We've helped Jibu, a Pan-African clean water company, recruit a fractional chief financial officer who has introduced financial controls and innovative pricing, all without the overhead of full-time salaries. And another example is a fractional head of cybersecurity who works remotely from New York for a fintech company in East Africa. So this Kenyan who's living in New York is remotely in that cybersecurity business in Kenya 2 days a week, Mondays and Thursdays. And the beauty of this is that this guy obviously understands the local Kenyan consumer market really well. He speaks Swahili, but he's bringing all of those top insights and skills sets from his current base in New York, and really bringing what we call this global and local insight and professional skills back to Africa. And this model appeals to professionals too. Many seasoned executives are pivoting to portfolio careers where they contribute to multiple ventures. They want variety and impact, and fractional roles let them achieve that. It's a win-win for businesses and talent alike. We're seeing the demand in Africa highest in fintech, e-commerce, health tech, edutech, and mobility. Our network includes thousands of experienced professionals in the diaspora who are not just advisors, they've actually been in the trenches. They've worked on the continent in Africa, they've been working internationally, and they really do bring actionable insights on a remote business. So the idea that we can play a really strong part in the virtual brain gain for Africa is really, really exciting. After all, we say the only way actually to source scarce talent is to share scarce talent. And on the African continent, brimming with potential, this model could be the secret weapon for really driving innovation on the continent and creating jobs.
Thank you again very much to Ms. Jones, who had some very valuable experiences to share. I'm particularly, in a very interconnected world, the concept of brain gain has also changed, and being able to tap into the virtual brain gain is something that I feel like everybody could learn from and borrow from, and hopefully adapt it to their own country as they see fit. For many of us in the diaspora, there's this dual sense of belonging and responsibility. Everyone who's ever lived abroad has felt this, the struggle of trying to fit in, or maybe not even a struggle, it's a challenge, a welcome challenge of trying to fit in and immerse ourselves, but at the same time, giving something to the home country and contributing in meaningful ways. This conversation that we're going to have today is very close to my heart because it's about turning that connection of belonging and responsibility into tangible development, bridging the gaps across sectors like, as we mentioned, healthcare, education, technology, public administration, etc. Our esteemed panelists today bring a wealth of experience in various fields, and I'm excited to dive into their insights and challenges and success stories and so on and so forth. So today, together, we'll explore how diaspora talent can help build sustainable, inclusive futures for our home countries. To my right, we have Mr. Bardel Dobra, who is Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs and Public Administration of Kosovo. As a member of Diaspora yourself, who has returned to Kosovo, Mr. Dobra combines a personal journey with professional expertise, and his academic background focuses on public administration in post-conflict states specifically, which is perfect. What a better place to be. And we look forward to his valuable insights into governance and reforms, and thank you so much for being here, Mr. Dobra. Next, we have Mr. Miguel Sousa, seasoned professional in governance, strategic planning, and international relations. Mr. Sousa is a former member of parliament in Cabo Verde and advisor to the government of Cabo Verde and Minister Jorge Santos. Miguel has also worked as a senior advisor to ministers in global organizations like the World Bank and European Commission. welcome to Kosovo and to this panel, Mr. Sosa. Merci beaucoup. And joining us on this panel is also Dr. Jibril Diallo, President and CEO of the African Renaissance and Diaspora Network, ARDN. With over 35 years of experience in international relations, Dr. Diallo leads ARDN's Pathway to Solutions initiative, aligning diaspora contributions with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Previously, he served in leadership roles at UNAIDS, UNDP, United Nations General Assembly for many years. I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Diallo just a few days ago, and there's a fascinating story to tell. And he's originally from Senegal, and he holds a PhD in linguistics and communication and is fluent in multiple languages. It's an honor to have you here today with us. Next we have Mr., and I'm going to butcher the name, I apologize in advance, Mr. Bertrand Honoré Manin-Dombu. Okay, great. Mr. Dombu is president of the Italian Coordination of Diasporas for International Cooperation. CIDCI is a network comprising of over 100 associations across 9 Italian regions, and it aims to harness the expertise and resources of diaspora communities to enhance development cooperation and promote global citizenship education. And thank you also for being here as well, Mr. Ndombu. And last but not least, we have Ms. Sihana Bitullahu, who is the co-executive director of GERMIN, which is a non-governmental organization that leverages technology and virtual platforms to connect and engage the Albanian diaspora in advancing the development and democratization of their home countries. Sihana has over a decade of experience in diaspora engagement, youth and women empowerment, and advocacy. Through GERMIN, she's been at the forefront of using digital tools to connect Kosovo diaspora and Albanian diaspora, transforming innovative ideas into impactful projects. And welcome as well, Ms. Bitullahu. So, I know I just said a lot, and I hope I didn't mess up anyone's background. Please be kind to me if I did. And correct me, first and foremost. So I want to start with a question for everyone. Diaspora communities are uniquely positioned to bring fresh perspectives, resources, and expertise to their home countries, often filling critical gaps in sectors like education, healthcare, technology, public administration, et cetera, et cetera. However, the challenges lie in channeling this potential effectively, as we all have experiences with it. What are some of the most effective ways for home countries to engage diaspora talent to drive progress and innovation across these critical sectors and more? And your experiences, if you could share something about that kind of line of thinking, it would be very welcome. And we'll start with you, Mr. Dobra.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And as you mentioned, Flaka, I left Kosovo when I was 13 years old. And I came back quite old, I would say. I came back 4 years ago to serve in the current government of the Republic of Kosovo with a specific mission, that is the reform of public administration. Kosovo is as you have already heard so many stories about, went through a conflict, and for the first time in the history of the UN took over the governance of an entire state, and this was the case of Kosovo in 1999, sorry. And it built institutions. However, as we all know, and well, I'm speaking also as Deputy Minister, but also during my research, I have not spared the UN about the criticism it should have when it comes to building institutions in different countries. It has created an environment which did not always create opportunities for everyone to thrive. Furthermore, with the declaration of the independence of Kosovo, we had another layer of institution building, which not always neither went on the right direction. So when I took the office 4 years ago, I would say I inherited an administration which was quite blocked, I would say, cemented, with mostly men in the administration, especially in the managerial positions. The diaspora was very briefly mentioned, but not seen, I would say, anywhere in the administration, or very rarely and for a short timing, for short time periods. So I'll go directly in what we did, so that we thought it would create opportunities for everyone, but also having in mind our diaspora. Well, I spent quite many years in France, Belgium, but also the US and the UK, and I had the opportunity to meet all these talents and bright minds that either are born in Kosovo or born in these countries, but that have kept connections with the homeland and that come regularly, and that express their willingness to contribute to Kosovo. So what we did is we changed the law on public officials, which put an end to this cemented system in the administration and opened opportunities for everyone. We went from a situation where the recruitment processes were opened only to insiders, meaning people that were already employed in the civil service or at large in the public administration. We decided that we open it from the beginning for everyone, and this includes our diaspora. We made sure that we eliminate as much as possible of the bureaucracy and the unnecessary procedures or documents that were demanded. Of course, there are certain procedures and documents that you cannot dismiss, but those that were not necessary, we totally eliminated them. We digitalized the recruitment process, so everyone can apply from wherever they are for the moment. And some of the documents are asked to bring only if they are recruited. So some documents that you need to go to the court or somewhere, you are asked to bring them only if you are recruited at the time you will sign your contract. We saw that this created a clear interest, and I think there is not a week that goes by that I'm not contacted by institutions that are contacted by our diaspora or people that want to come back and contribute. Something important also that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs did is the Citizen Diplomacy Fellowship. We have now the third cohort within the institutions, and well, I have one of them in my office. I will not mention his name, but we see a real interest to contribute, and not only his, but we organized a conference in September on public administration. It was an international conference where all the CDFs that are from this cohort, but also the previous ones, wanted to contribute, and they all had a specific role and really made sure that the conference was a success. And I really want to thank them for what they did during this conference. And I see that the same model is being replicated here for the Ulpiana Forum, and it is certainly a success. With the CDF that I have in my office, we decided to do something very concrete. And again, we are involving the diaspora. So, as I said, we we are digitalizing fully the recruitment process. And in this aspect, what we have done is we create a pool of questions, and then the algorithms will pick up the questions for the written examination when the candidates sit to take the written exam. So what we want to do now is to use AI on generating as much as possible questions, because I want to have thousands of questions. I want to make them public so that people can see what will be asked. And at the same time, use AI to generate constantly these questions so that there is no way of cheating or misuse of them. And we are working with a specialist of AI who is also part of our diaspora. It's a young lady that lives in London, and she was part of the conference that we had here in September, and everyone was rushing to her. I mean, people from Brazil, other countries, trying to get her to work for them. But I said, whoa, guys, wait, because first priority is Kosovo. We have made sure that she will help us to create this system that will help us to conduct this important process. And why it's important that, and why I mentioned the CDFs and the diaspora, is because I have put this entire process in the hand of the CDF that is in my office. And well, wherever he is, he should just close his ears, but he's doing great. And he's working together with our administration, the people that are already, I would say, the locals. And this is another important aspect that tells you that the cooperation between the diaspora and us here in the institution is possible, can be effective, and can give real good results. And well, these are just the first thoughts, and I think we will have later on the chance to speak again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dobra. I do feel like a proud mother every time. Anyone says good things about CDF. But thank you for sharing your insights. You know, we heard from Ms. Jones about that virtual brain gain, and you've managed to find a way to combine both of them, which is even better. And we're gonna pass. Do you need me to repeat the question, sir?
Bon, merci. Bonsoir pour toutes et tous les gens qui sont ici. Je commence par remercier l'invitation que l'organisation a fait, le gouvernement du Cap-Vert qui était ici présent. Et je dis aussi bonjour à mes collègues. Je dis aussi bonjour à mes collègues ici du panel pour parler un peu sur la diaspora et pour compter ici notre expérience sur la question de diaspora. Je commence pour dire que pour nous, au Cap-Vert, la diaspora, c'est une question stratégique et fondamentale pour le développement du pays. Nous pensons que ce n'est pas possible de développer Cap-Vert sans la diaspora. Ce n'est pas possible de parler sur le développement, de faire la planification stratégique sur le développement, planification durable aussi, sans la diaspora. En tant que notre population, il y a un aspect que je dis historique et cognitif. Pendant le 3e, 4e siècle, la population capverdienne prend toujours l'option d'immigration. Et en Cap-Vert, nous avons seulement 500 000 personnes qui vivent dans le territoire national. Et nous avons trois fois plus de cette même population à l'extérieur, 1,5 million à l'extérieur. Et là, quand nous faisons la planification, par exemple, pour développer le secteur normal de l'économie, nous réparons avec une chose très importante. La population n'est pas là. La population n'est pas là, la population sort du pays. Il cherche les moyens de résoudre son défi de vie, pas au niveau du pays, mais au niveau de l'extérieur. Et ça crée un défi tellement préoccupant pour le pays qu'il faut bien regarder, il faut bien le planifier. Bon, Cap-Vert a été un pays très fermé, très fermé. Cap-Vert a été en indépendance en 1975, avec le gouvernement a été fait pour un parti unique pendant 15 ans. Il a coupé pratiquement la relation du pays avec la diaspora. Il a dit que la diaspora menace le système politique du parti unique. Il a coupé au niveau aussi constitutionnel. Et pendant 15 ans, la diaspora a pris une relation avec beaucoup de difficultés avec des pays. Et après 1980, on a fait l'ouverture politique, l'ouverture démocratique et l'ouverture aussi constitutionnelle, que s'encadre, que le nouveau constitution vient prendre la relation, imposer la relation du pays avec sa diaspora. La diaspora aussi a réagi positivement, a dit bon, nous sommes là, nous sommes disponibles aussi pour donner notre contribution pour le développement du pays. Les questions fondamentales, comment le faire? Comment le faire? Quel est le véhicule que nous devons utiliser pour donner, pour garantir la contribution de la diaspora pour le développement du pays? Et là, en 1984, nous avons fait un congrès de cadres capverdiens de diaspora. Nous, dans ce moment-là, nous allons inviter pratiquement 600 cadres capverdiens, cadres supérieurs capverdiens, qui viennent de plusieurs endroits. Nous faisons un congrès en Portugal. Comme vous savez, nous sommes un pays lusophone. Nous parlons portugais. C'est pour cela que je suis ici à débrouiller en français, mais c'est pas aussi ma langue de travail. Moi, je travaille en portugais.
Très bien.
Je travaille en portugais. Je prends mon difficulté de parler en portugais, les débrouiller en français, parce que je suis ici avec des francophones. Que c'est très bien parler français, mais je m'excuse quand même.
Très clair.
Je m'excuse quand même.
Je vais demander à mon CDF s'il parle portugais par hasard.
Je m'excuse quand même, mais je vais me débrouiller pour exposer quelques contributions, pour laisser ici quelques contributions. Nous avons en 1984, nous avons organisé le premier congrès des cadres capverdiens. Et là, nous avons pris beaucoup de décisions. Les cadres capverdiens, ils envoient les constitutions, les nouvelles constitutions. Ils ont dit, OK, les nouvelles constitutions nous permettront de prendre aussi l'initiative de collaborer avec le pays, de faire la coopération avec le pays. Mais ils ont questionné toujours comment le faire. Comment le faire? Parce que la structuration de l'administration publique de l'État empêche de le faire, de le faire dans ce moment-là. Il faut faire la réforme administrative pour que le cadre puisse venir. Il peut venir avec la confiance sur le pays. Il peut donner sa contribution. Il voit que sa contribution résoudre positivement pour le développement du pays. Sinon, il préfère rester dans les pays d'accueil, dans les pays où il est dans ce moment, parce qu'il est là tranquille. S'il est là tranquille. Bon, nous faisons le premier congrès du cadre capverdien, nous prenons un certain nombre de conclusions. Nous avons amené cette conclusion pour l'État, pour améliorer la gouvernance, l'administration publique, la relation avec. Et nous avons une orientation diplomatique du pays dans la relation externe. Par exemple, notre mission diplomatique est pratiquement fermée pour les citoyens capverdiens qui vivent dans ces moments-là à l'extérieur. Il faut le faire ouverture aussi. Il faut ouvrir les canaux diplomatiques, pour s'encadrer les options des immigrants. Il y avait beaucoup de travail qu'Aver a pris pour faire. Le travail n'est pas terminé. Pour que le cadre capverdien qui réside au niveau des pays de diaspora puisse donner sa contribution pour le développement du pays et pour voir aussi les meilleurs véhicules d'investissement. Et dans ce moment, par exemple, pour nous, au Cap-Vert, nous considérons que nous avons 70% de notre population vit dans la diaspora. Et dans ce moment, sa contribution pour les pays représente à peu près 34% du PIB. La contribution financière de la diaspora capverdienne représente dans ce moment à peu près 400 milliards de dollars par an. 60% des dépôts bancaires au Cap-Vert, 60% des dépôts à long terme, dépôts bancaires à long terme, deviennent des ressources de la diaspora. Ça veut dire qu'il y a beaucoup de gens au Cap-Vert, notamment les économistes, qui disent que notre monnaie existe pour qu'il existe aussi la diaspora. Sinon, il n'existe pas. Parce qu'il donne une contribution fondamentale pour équilibrer les bilans du paiement du pays, pour équilibrer les comptes nationaux aussi, pour donner la contribution pour le développement du pays, parce qu'il met les ressources disponibles à disposition du pays. Mais nous demandons toujours comment le pays doit faire pour garantir que la stabilisation des processus de contribution des diasporas dans le processus de développement soutenable dans ce cas, non? Et par rapport à ODS, par exemple. Et alors, là, nous faisons le premier plan, un plan de développement soutenable de 2016-2021. Dans ce moment, nous exécutons le deuxième plan de développement 2021-2026. Et dans le deuxième plan, nous avons le gouvernement à considérer que la diaspora, c'est une des centralités de l'administration des processus de développement. Tout doit passer, tout doit tourner au dehors des diasporas. Tout, pratiquement. Et ça a fait que le gouvernement a pris beaucoup d'initiatives de réformes de l'administration publique, des réformes du secteur financier, des réformes de fonctionnement de notre politique externe. Parce qu'il y a toujours un conflit entre la diplomatie et la diaspora. La diaspora, ce sont les citoyens. La diplomatie, c'est l'intérêt de l'État. L'intérêt de l'État, c'est toujours abstrait. On ne le voit pas. Les intérêts personnels de chacun, on le voit, on le sent. Alors il y a toujours un choc. Les diplomates qui représentent l'État, pratiquement, ils ne veulent pas représenter aussi les citoyens. Pourquoi? Parce qu'il n'y a pas de légitimité démocratique des citoyens. Alors ils représentent l'État, mais ils laissent à côté les représentations concrètes des citoyens. Et ça représente une difficulté parce que nous n'avions pas les véhicules très proches de notre communauté industrielle. Le plus proche, c'est notre consulat. Il faut que le consulat soit proche de notre citoyen. Et pour difficulté générale de la structure diplomatique, et dans ce moment-là, il n'était pas proche. C'est pour cela que le gouvernement a fait les plateformes. Nous avons une plateforme, c'est le consulat virtuel. Nous avons un consulat virtuel qui fait l'émission de tous les documents que les immigrants capverdiens ont besoin. Tous les documents. Par exemple, nous avons un immigrant capverdien en Australie. Là, nous n'avons pas un consulat. Il vient avec les plateformes. Il a besoin d'un passeport. Il vient par les consulats. Il reçoit son passeport en 5 jours, même en Australie. Il paye, il retire online, il fait online. Les structures, il amène le passeport en 5 jours en Australie. Parce que c'est un problème concret de la relation de l'État avec des citoyens. Pour créer les véhicules corrects, qui donnent la confiance, pour que les immigrants viennent investir le pays. Ils investissent normalement parce qu'ils donnent la contribution pour sa famille, la famille qui reste dans le pays, mais il faut qu'ils viennent de façon organisée, de façon structurée. Il ne faut pas qu'ils viennent seuls. Il faut qu'ils viennent avec sa relation dans le pays d'accueil, avec les ressources, toutes les ressources qu'elle peut faire venir pour le pays, pour le développement. Alors le pays doit prendre son rôle et sa responsabilité de réforme. Sa responsabilité de réforme pour donner cette garantie. C'est pour cela que dans les réformes constitutionnelles de 1980, tous les immigrants capverdiens qui résident dans les pays peuvent voter directement. Ils peuvent voter dans une élection législative, ils peuvent voter dans une élection présidentielle. Et la Constitution a établi 6 députés pour 3 cercles électoraux. Nous avons un cercle électoral pour l'Amérique, nous avons un cercle électoral pour l'Afrique et nous avons un cercle électoral pour l'Europe et le reste du monde. Ce sont 6 députés au Parlement. Avec toutes les garanties financières de l'État pour qu'ils puissent suivre sur place le développement de notre communauté. Il y a une autre chose très importante, par exemple. La diaspora s'organise pour l'association, l'associativisme, le mouvement associativisme. Et l'État regardait pendant beaucoup de temps pour les associations. Plusieurs fois, il donne quelques soutiens, plusieurs fois non. Il faut régulariser la relation de l'État avec les façons organisables de la diaspora. Il faut disponibiliser aussi les ressources que les immigrants ont besoin pour organiser la vie associative, pour créer le véhicule de collaboration avec les pays. Parce que sinon, ils n'ont pas le véhicule correct. S'ils n'ont pas le véhicule correct, ils ne peuvent pas collaborer dans le processus de développement, notamment du développement sustainable, comme on peut l'appeler. Et le pays a beaucoup de confiance avec ce travail. C'est pour cela que le gouvernement a décidé de faire le mapping de toute la diaspora capverdienne pour le monde entier. Nous avons la diaspora dans les 42 pays. 42 pays. Il faut les connaître. Il faut que les pays les connaissent. Parce que sinon, ce n'est pas possible d'établir la politique publique. Si nous ne le connaissons pas, ce n'est pas possible d'établir la politique publique. Dans ce moment, nous avons déjà commencé à produire les statistiques officielles des pays sur les diasporas. Les statistiques officielles des pays, pour que l'État puisse établir justement la politique publique qui s'encadre. Et je vois beaucoup de fois les gens parler d'engagement de la diaspora dans le processus. Nous, au Cap-Vert, nous utilisons un autre terme. Nous utilisons l'intégration. Nous utilisons l'intégration de la diaspora dans le processus de développement durable du pays. Et l'intégration de la diaspora dans le processus, dans les pays d'intégration, dans les pays d'accueillement. C'est un terme intégration. Nous utilisons beaucoup de fois l'intégration parce que pour nous, l'intégration c'est fondamental. Parce qu'il y a, et avec ça je vais terminer, pour nous, il y a une corrélation positive entre l'intégration avec le succès dans les pays d'accueil, avec la possibilité d'investir dans votre pays. Si moi je suis dans un pays d'accueil, je n'ai pas le succès dans l'intégration, ce n'est pas possible de participer dans le processus de développement de mon pays. Il faut que je sois bien intégré dans le pays d'accueil. Et pour cela, nous utilisons deux variantes sur l'intégration d'un pays d'accueil et l'intégration dans les pays au Cap-Vert pour le développement durable. Et pour cela, nous sommes conscients que nous allons mettre en place le véhicule correct que peut toucher l'intérêt de Diaspora d'investir aussi au Cap-Vert et d'y participer dans les développements durables du pays. Je me reste là, ici, et après on peut éclaircir, on peut ajouter plus d'autres choses. Merci.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sosa. So much to unpack there, and I would encourage everyone to, use these networking opportunities to learn more about these, initiatives that COFED has taken. Very valuable and very applicable elsewhere as well. We are going to kindly skip the two gentlemen for now and go to Sihana, who is going to answer the same question. What are some of the most effective ways home countries to engage diaspora talent to drive progress and innovation across these critical sectors such as education, healthcare, etc.?
Thank you, Flauka. It is my pleasure to be here and to share the stage with all of you. Thank you very much for having me and also talking about this important issue. On Thursday, actually, we are marking our 10th anniversary as one of the first NGOs that started to work for diaspora, Albanian diaspora. And I want to go back on time, 12 years ago, when we started to have the first meetings in Berlin, in Vienna, and also other countries. And we started to build our database of people that are engaged in the community, but they have the will to contribute to their home country. And we were in those meetings, we talked about their needs, the opportunities to be engaged here, and also we asked their opinion on how we can still keep them involved in the development of the country and stuff. And after the meeting ended, they were like, "Oh, you didn't ask us for monies?" And we were like, "No, we are asking you for your opinion, your needs, and your skills, how we can use them to contribute to the home country." So mostly people, when they looked at the diaspora people, they were looking in the financial aspects. They will give us remittances, they will give us monies and stuff, but slowly we started to switch this mentality of looking also the potential that is out there, the talent that is out there, and how can we use that for both parties. I just came back from an interview with Albanian American that he was sharing the story how Albanians were playing a crucial role back in 1999 in New York and Washington when they were talking about how important it is that U.S. can help us in ending the war in Kosovo back then. So they were people meeting with congressmen, with people that were making policies, just to tell them the story, how important it is and what is happening actually in Kosovo. Back then there were no such medias that we have now, such opportunities that we have now. You are just an email away from people that you live miles away. Back then it was very difficult. But who did that? Our diaspora people, our Albanians that live abroad, and they were advocating for our rights, they were telling the stories, and they were having a great impact on what happened then after 1999. So this is a huge potential and talent out there that we can use. So gradually we started to build some programs and projects, and all of them are designed in the way that we take opinions very seriously, needs, and we transform them into specific programs and projects. Also, another important part to be mentioned is the trust. People from diaspora they are not living here. They need to trust you, and they need to share with you the same mission and vision for contribution. And as an Albanian diaspora people, we are lucky, I can say that we are super lucky that the will is there. So we don't need to talk a lot like how important is this for you to invest, because based also on our studies, and the one that we recently published, when we asked if they have the will to contribute to the home country, 73% of our 1,000 responses that we get, 73% of them said that they are ready to contribute if there will be a specific program or specific project that they can contribute. So mostly we do identify the needs that we have here, but also we identify the profiles that we have in diaspora, people that can give the contribution. So one of our projects is called Engaging Diaspora Professionals, and this is what we do. We build those, we create those bridges so people can give their contribution into the home countries. The other element is also using the technology, and it was mentioned also from the Deputy Minister how important it is right now to use those technologies to make it easier. So we have programs when they can come back and contribute to the home country, specifically in any NGO, in the private sector, in institutions, but also they can use technologies by being mentors, having lectures, inspiring speeches and everything through technology, and still they can be connected and give their contribution. Is it enough? I would say, of course not. This is a change in a very small scale. We can make it better and bigger. I wish there are 10 governments or even more, 100 governments that can make this impact. But I would like to mention that the development of the country is a shared responsibility. So it is in all of us. It goes to all of us. And to not look to diaspora like a separate entity, but there are stakeholders, so we need to have this collaboration between institutions, diaspora members, NGOs that work with diaspora, and also the private sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anna. Government is doing a great job in connecting diaspora youth, and I'm sure you can talk about, if we have time, more about one of your programs, which tends to bring younger generations and connect them even more, and then they move on to our program, which is great. And we'll pass on the question to Mr. Dombu. Thank you.
Okay, I think there is no one in the room who will speak Italian, so I will try to speak in English. What I heard this afternoon is really true. Every one of us, of you, say something what we are also thinking. Because we think that we must acknowledge that the challenges remain to the way how we can engage diaspora and how we can do it formally. The institutional frameworks in our countries of origins often lag behind the dynamic nature of diaspora way of doing things. So it's really difficult to say what is the effective way of engaging them. So we need to be more, we think, flexible, and also to improve inclusive policies that recognize and support the unique role of diaspora communities in development. Okay. But we think that creating formal channels to the diaspora expertise in development is one of the winning goal, the winning way of being, trying to make them engage effectively. And for example, also looking at the diaspora way of doing things, we used to say to be, as diaspora, be also proactive. Because when we start having meetings with with embassies in Rome, we understood that there was something that they needed from us. But if we didn't create these links, it was impossible for us to understand what was the needs of the embassies. So we start meeting African embassies. We start meeting Latin American embassies. We hope to meet also the East European embassies and also the ASEAN embassies to see what can be the way to engage effectively diaspora. First thing, formal channels, formal institutional tables where we can share what are our needs to be involved in the development of our countries of origins. The second way that we found is that establishing mechanism that for knowledge, like you were saying before, a database of competencies and so on, help to know how you can engage this kind of competencies, because you cannot just engage everybody at the same moment. I think this topic was said also by her and by Dr. Dobra, who was saying that you need to choose also to the right expertise to engage diasporas. And the other hand, there is another point that we find out is important also to see, is that obviously sometimes we used to see diaspora as a bank, which for us is really bad. It's not so good. See, we want to be more active and show that we have a human capital. Well, we introduced a term, the term remittances of knowledges. So, but it's important to develop financial instruments that leverage that diaspora investment in the country. And the last thing that is important for us is to support diaspora continually, because also diaspora needs support to their entrepreneurship initiatives in the country. When I was talking to the diplomatic advisor of Prime Minister Meloni, she was talking about Piano Mattei, the Mattei plan that Italy wants to do for Africa. I was saying, diaspora, African diaspora, do a lot of things in Africa. If you want potentially to leverage Mattei plan, you can also think about how to reinforce, to invest what diaspora, African diaspora is already investing, to bring a major impact for the African economies. So, a way, it's kind of way to be flexible, to know a way to be flexible and have a strategy to bring diaspora to be interested about all the programs that we are doing. This is my opinion.
Thank you so much. And then for the last, again, last but not least, Mr. Diallo, I would add to the first question, given your background, I have a follow-up question to it. And I wanted to know, I want to hear your thoughts about how do we ensure that diaspora-led initiatives prioritize inclusivity and equity, fostering development that truly leaves no one behind. And I know you have, especially when it comes to gender balance, you have a lot of, an extensive background in it, and would love to hear your thoughts in addition to the other remarks regarding the previous question, which I'm not going to repeat.
Thank you. The advantage or disadvantage of coming last is that everything has been said before you. So you can do the audience a favor by being shorter. So just a number of quick points. Thank you, Flaka. One is as we explore this question by the moderator, I would like to highlight very quickly how it intersects with what the African Renaissance and Diaspora Network is doing to advance the promotion of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And in that connection, we have a flagship initiative, which is an initiative in support of the United Nations called the Pathways to Solutions. Because what we have as an advantage, everybody says that the diaspora, very often I say to the diaspora, you can wake up physically in Italy or some other countries, but mentally and emotionally every day you're waking up in your own country of origin. So that double engine kind of situation is a rich community that enables the diaspora community to be positioned to champion the SDGs. And as the former member of parliament has said, we should not forget the fact that at some point, diaspora people in several countries were regarded as traitors. That is, people who have given up their support to their countries in order to take care of personal gains. So that I think that we need to learn from Kosovo how this has been transformed into a wealth. This has not always been the case, some of us who have been around. So that why? Because the diaspora has a wealth of skills. The diaspora has accumulated a wealth of resources, and the diaspora has also accumulated what we call cross-cultural understanding, which is very, very important element. At the African Renaissance a red card to a player, what happens? You're out. So the idea is that we need to wipe out from the face of this earth anything to do with gender-based violence, and that has two objectives. One, to reinforce the global movement on dealing with gender-based violence. This is not pitting women against men. It's just to say that we need to make sure that we have positive masculinity. That is to have men as partners in the struggle for gender equality. And in that connection, many of you have your red cards. I gave each one. Could you raise your red card, each one of you? If you don't have one, I want Ibrahima to pick it up. Raise your red cards, please. Raise your red cards, please, because we are going to commit here, individually and collectively, to do everything possible to make sure that we give a red card to all forms of discrimination and violence against women and girls. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Diallo. So very, very inspiring words. I was very ambitious in my questions. I had a lot of questions prepared, and that is on me because I should have known that we have a panel full of very accomplished people with very impressive backgrounds and a lot of stories to tell. So I'm gonna, for the sake of leaving some room to the audience to ask some questions, I'm gonna skip my questions for now, unless there are no questions. But if you have a question, please raise your hand for any of the members of the panel. Going once, twice. Okay, I'm more than happy to ask my questions. Just I'm gonna then piggyback on something you mentioned, Mr. Diallo, and something that kind of connects to Italy. Recently, we with the group we did a study visit to Italy, to the Albrecht communities in Calabria. And one of the most alarming things that I heard, it was the most beautiful experience ever, a community, an Albanian community that has been preserving culture and traditions and language for over 500 years now. But they mentioned a statistic that was very alarming, which said, they said that they're in primary school, 80%, in high school, 80% of the students of that region speak Albrecht. In primary school, 80% don't speak Albrecht anymore. And all of these language and culture crises have happened in the past 40 years. Digitalization, the interconnection has its advantages, but also the disadvantages. In light of that, it made me think about how do we bring the Drenushas of the world back to Kosovo here, but also to your respective countries. So whoever wants to answer this question, I would like to know what role does cultural identity play in keeping diaspora connected, and what can we do to foster this, especially in light of these, outside threats, I should say. Whoever wants to answer.
Sure. Thank you again. Well, in Kosovo we had, I would say, a sort of chance that most of our diaspora is in Europe. So the proximity plays a really important role. And then we have a clear concentration of our diaspora in Switzerland, Germany, and to some extent Belgium and a couple of other countries. So in terms of proximity, it helped the community to stay together. And there was another important aspect that helped our diaspora to get together or to come together, is that they didn't leave because of the violence caused by the Kosovo state, but it was caused by another regime. So all of them were victim of the regime of another country. So the fight of Kosovo for independence, for freedom, was a cause that brought them together and helped them to find ways to support the country, the nation, and the people that remained here. We saw that during the war 1998-1999, a lot of the people that fought against the Milosevic regime came back from the diaspora. They took their arms and went directly to the battle. Especially during the 90s, but we also see it now in different places where we had quite an important concentration of our diaspora. There were education or courses in Albanian that were delivered to them. Unfortunately, not enough. Where I was in France, we didn't have this, but I had my parents who were quite tough with me, and I had a sort of obligation to read in Albanian, to read the newspaper, to read books. So this helped me to keep it. But we see it in Switzerland and Germany, where the education system, which in many cases were also helped by the states themselves, the lands in Germany or different associations or cantons in Switzerland. This helped them to keep it together. And then when you have the independence of Albania National Day, you always have a party, so everyone gathers, and this creates a sort of connection between them. And I'll stop there. Maybe at the end I'll just add something on the reforms and why the diaspora come back.
Sounds great. And Mr. Diallo and
Very quickly, I think that one of the big advantages that we have here is we should really play up the role of the Ulpiana Forum, in the sense that the youth, they vote with their feet. If they like it, they stay. If they don't like it, they don't get engaged. So that the Ulpiana Forum providing opportunities for exchange of experiences is one point which I would like to highlight. The second point was that when I was Director of Communications of UNDP, we had two initiatives. One initiative was called TOK10, T-O-K-T-E-N, which is called Transfer of Knowledge among Expatriate Nationals. So that we would go to an institution in industrialized countries and then provide a 2-year contract to young expatriates to go back to their countries and give them assurance if they like it, they can stay in the country of origin. If they don't like it, they have the assurance to get back to their jobs. And linked to that was the fact of already leading with virtual communication. That is, some of the people are so established in their countries like Italy and so on, that with the best of intention, they will not be able to pick up everything and move to their countries. So we say to them, during the week, how many hours can you give in your area of expertise? So that in that sense, you know, we accumulated a lot of knowledge whereby individuals are contributing to their jobs in their countries of origin, but at the same time, they are contributing to the country of residence, but also through the virtual knowledge, they are contributing to their country of origin, so that it doesn't do bad, because with the best of intentions, not everybody will be able to move back. As the Prime Minister said this morning, he said that if somebody has stayed in a country for over 8 years, then the likelihood of them coming back permanently lessens. They may buy an apartment in which they can just stay for 2 weeks in a year, but at least something that happens. Final point has to do with really the fact that we need to encourage the youth in terms of language, because language is a very, very important form of communication, and once they speak the language, it makes it easier to do a transfer as well.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna have to be brief with the time, so I'm gonna pass it to Sihana first to briefly talk about the original maybe, and then to Mr. Dogu. I believe there was a question from the audience, but if not, then we can close up. Okay, so maybe a couple minutes each in order to respect everybody's time, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Flocka. So when we talk about diaspora, so there are different dimensions. There are different reasons why they left. They are different age groups, different profiles. So we should design programs and projects based on their needs. And that's how we came to program Original, which we, it is the third year that we are implementing it. And it is called Original, which means Origin Albania. So it is a program for youngsters because it came as a need from the parents that they left the country and they were young and they were forced to leave the country and they were forced to learn other languages. They were forced to do three jobs maybe to earn money to support their families, but also to send monies back to their countries. And now their kids are born and raised into developed countries, developed countries, and they are being very good and active citizens there. But for Kosovo and Albania, they have just the story told by their parents, and they have just 2 weeks during the summer that they will come here, and there is no much time to be more connected and having more meaningful connections to the country. And this program will provide them with the opportunity of being engaged with the home country in a different level. So they will be here for two weeks. They will learn about the culture, the history told by a very professional people. They will meet their peers that live here, but also they are in a room with other diaspora members that are born and raised between two countries. And when they share the story, you could feel how they are immediately connected to each other and that they are ready to give their contribution even better. And one of the sessions that they will reflect on the experience, they started to cry and to say, like, now I understand the story of my parents. Now I can touch it, I can see it, and it is all connected to what they were telling me. And I'm really happy that some of the people are part of our institution now, and they came back to live and to work here, and they said that it wasn't an option in my head. Till I came to this program, it wasn't an option to go back and to contribute. So I'm really happy that this program is having an impact, and this is what we need, actually. This is what we need, to have that experience that you mentioned before. Thank you, Flocka.
It's really interesting when you point out about Calabria. So it's a great dilemma. Because we're talking about integration, inclusion. You know, in Italy, we have an organization, a youth organization, we used to be called CUNGI. That means Coordination New Generations of Italians. They are sons of diasporas who are in Italy, but who saw themselves as Italian, new Italian people. So it's really interesting to see, because there is a kind of fight inside themselves, because they have two cultures. And coming at the point, I like the way Professor Jean-Léonard Toiti say that diasporas has embodied a dual belonging that transcends traditional notion of identity, which is really deep, which really deep with culture, our story, the story of our family, our country, the country of origin, and also citizenship, but both in our country of origin and also our country of residence. So it's really interesting, and it's a great dilemma because we are always talking about it inside CIDCI, and it's why we plan to organize next year, on February, the 22nd of February, we'll have a national summit, Diaspora National Summit, and the topic will be on the the global generation, talking about how youth people can be involved, engaged inside the international cooperation by learning about their country of origin and find the right solution for those people. So we have to find a way to make them be close to their culture, the cultures of their parents and their countries of origin. So it's a way we find to solve the problem, the conflict between the way of being integrated and the way of being a new Italian, maybe.
Thank you.
Seulement une chose très simple pour ici terminer et donner ici une petite contribution. Nous disons toujours que les pays développés font la coopération nord-sud. Les pays sous-développés, ce sont les pays qui font l'immigration. Mais l'immigration aussi, c'est une façon de partenariat. Parce que l'immigration fait des places avec le travail, le pouvoir du travail. Le pouvoir du travail. À mon avis, il faut s'encadrer les concepts et poser la différenciation entre la différenciation conceptuelle de la diaspora, de l'immigration et de la communauté qui réside dans les pays d'accueil. Parce que plusieurs fois, nous n'avons pas le concept très clair et nous mélangeons les choses. Et quand nous mélangeons les choses, il y a des problèmes de définition des politiques après. Parce que pour nous manquer la compréhension totale des choses, surtout nous qui sommes des pays origines de la migration. C'est nous qui ne le comprenons pas et nous ne savons pas bien l'expliquer. Parce que c'est notre affaire, c'est notre population qui sort. C'est notre population qui sort. Nous savons toujours qu'au niveau de la diplomatie, il y a la coopération bilatérale. Quand les pays parlent entre les pays, quand ils parlent, c'est la coopération bilatérale. Quand tous les pays parlent, ce sont les coopérations multilatérales. Quand les pays parlent par rapport à l'ONG, ce sont les coopérations décentralisées. Entre-temps, il n'y a pas de coopération pour la diaspora. Il faut que les piliers de diaspora, qui ont compris la coopération claire et qui ont redéfini, produit le concept qui permettrait de faire l'altération des choses. C'est pour cela que, par exemple, il y a beaucoup de gens qui disent, c'est vrai, que les nouvelles générations, ils coupent la relation culturelle avec le pays. Parce que les pays d'origine le laissent. Ne font pas son travail, à mon avis. Il y a un cas vers nous sommes là, nous insistons avec l'État qu'il faut faire le travail. Par exemple, Cap-Vert, c'est un pays musical. C'est un pays musical. Tous les jeunes cap-verdiens à l'extérieur cherchent la musique du Cap-Vert. Alors c'est un instrument d'intégration et de la relation avec le pays. Alors pourquoi que l'État ne prend sa responsabilité de promotion musicale, par exemple, quand il sait que la musique peut intégrer les nouvelles générations? Je crois que la perception de l'État d'origine, à mon avis, doit changer par rapport à la diaspora, par rapport à les immigrants, par rapport à les communautés d'origine qui se fixent dans un pays d'accueil, pour pouvoir travailler avec les nouvelles générations. Parce que sinon, ils vont couper, clairement. Parce que le pouvoir des pays d'accueil, c'est plus que le pouvoir des pays d'origine. Et à mon avis, c'est ça que si on touche dans cet aspect-là, on peut améliorer la relation, on peut à peu près connecter le pays avec son diaspora. Et on peut faire aussi que la diaspora se soit scient de sa connexion avec le pays d'origine. C'est ça, plus ou moins.
I'll continue. What I wanted to say is it actually somehow goes in this line. If we want our diaspora to come back to our countries, I'm talking about Kosovo, we need here to deliver. We need to conduct reforms. The diaspora will come back if their investments are safe, if there is security, if they have opportunities, if there's, I don't know, if they see that a government is delivering on reforms. There is what we call this push-pull dilemma when we talk about reforms. If reforms are imposed from outside, they will likely not work. But if they are wanted from the inside and pushed from the inside, be it the society or the government itself, they are much more likely to work. And this is something that we really need to do. What we have been doing these 4 years in Kosovo, is it enough? No, because we see that we still have issues and we need to work. And in all this work, when the diaspora sees that there is commitment, there are efforts that are put in solving problems, they are also willing to take risks and come back, help our institutions. And really my call for the Minister of Foreign Affairs would be to multiply the CDF projects. I see the cooperation that is in my office between the CDF and my Kosovo-based staff. They are working together, they are learning from each other, and I see that there is no problem of integration. The CDF that I have in my office is born and raised in Switzerland, but the integration was smooth, and they are all working together. And of what I hear from the other institutions, it is the same everywhere. So they both help each other, they both contribute, and I think it also creates new positive energies, and it's really something that attracts others that are, let's say, in the diaspora when they hear about these positive stories. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much to everyone. Unfortunately, we are at the end of the panel. I wish we could have prolonged this conversation even more because there's so much to be said. But that's the beauty of these types of forums at conferences. It's just a conversation starter, and then hopefully a place to convene and create meaningful connections for future collaborations and exchanges of ideas. I want to thank each and every one of you for your insights, the knowledge you've imparted with us, and we hope that each of us takes something away from this panel and turns it into a tangible, meaningful step towards strengthening diaspora and home country connections. Thank you also to the participants of the audience, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your stay. Very kind.